Please be joined this time by Coach Adkins at Luella. Coach, thanks for joining me.
I appreciate you for having me on, Coach. I'm super excited about talking some ball tonight.
Yeah, we recognized you several times. One of the best assistant coaches in the state of Georgia. Excited to hear what you got to say about that mint front. So let me get out the way and let the experts take over. So take it away.
I got you, my man. Don't know about experts, but definitely a guy that loves learning and kind of been doing at least this style of defense for a little while here now. So first things up, I'm going to go ahead and talk about kind of like you said, mint front inspired run fits. It's not necessarily the true mint front, but it's kind of some things that I was able to learn, especially at my time at Newton, being able to go up to UGA a few times, as far as kind of some of the systems and things that we can do inside of the box, regardless of the personnel that we have, and be able to kind of be successful stopping the run and being able to play against the pass. So the first thing I kind of want to talk about is going to be the core beliefs of that system. Pretty much the core beliefs that I have for it is going to be that the five-man box fits independently of the rest of the defense. So pretty much what I mean by that, those two bubble backers, those three defensive linemen, they get a set of rules that go into their head and they're taught over and over and over again from a technique standpoint that puts them in successful places to be able to make successful plays for us, and it always fits within the system. The next core belief I kind of look at is that the traditional nine technique is a person or a player that can be moved based on the type of personnel that you have on your team. Traditionally, when you look at a mint front, you look at a UGA, you look at a old school Saban at Bama, is talking about being able to have, some huge guys. And we're not always able to have that luxury at the high school level. Sometimes we might have a 6 foot guy playing out there. Sometimes it's a 5'9" guy. No matter what he is, him being that final fitter to the fit, we can kind of maneuver where he is on the field so he can kind of be successful, and we can kind of play with the offense a little bit. So I kind of have here on this picture over here on the right, you can look at some of these stars, and the stars are pretty much aligned in different places that I've played that additional defender over the years. But where he plays at doesn't really matter. It kind of matters how you want to fit and how your coverages are going to work to entail each other. Um, Again, like I said, that personnel is going to dictate that placement, the type of body, and how you want to cover. And then the last biggest thing for me is going to be used to be able to stop the vertical run. Those five interior players make sure they take up those four gaps in the cutback lane, and the ball has to go horizontally. I feel real good about footballs when it's going sideways instead of going vertical up and down the field, and it allows us to be able to use that 12th defender, that sideline. We also do play with a heavy edge corner, but being able to utilize the sideline as an extra defender helps us out tremendously. Kind of some ways that it's easy for high school as far as the explanation goes. When we look at our just system, we're talking to our defensive line and those backers. We just wanted them to understand that they are responsible for that interior gap control. They have to make sure that those two vertical A's and those two vertical B's are taken care of. They have a job to do until they have another job to do based on the technique and the assignment that we give them. So their whole thing is, okay, nothing comes vertical. That next piece is going to be a vertical knockback from the defensive line. The more explosive you can have those guys play, the stronger they can be, the easier it is to play in the system. Again, based off of your personnel and based off of personnel I've had in the past as well, you might not have the biggest guys to stay in the 0 and 4 eye the whole time. So we've been able to do things as move people into fives and threes and kind of play with some different rules and some different techniques to be able to make that advantageous as well, especially through our game planning. And then obviously, just being able to force the ball lateral, I think that's a big piece that the defensive line and the backers have to understand that, okay, I'm going to make some plays, but my main job is to keep those other guys clean and force the ball to go sideways so we know that they're not getting vertical production in the run game. And so once you're able to nail down that mentality into a system for the guys, it's actually very simplistic when you actually put it into the field. It's a lot less checks because they're playing off of rules and not playing off of what the offense is dictating to them. A lot of it is going to be block recognition. Again, like we said, it's going to be rules in place that each player has that puts them in a successful position to be able to make a play. And I always feel like when you have less checks and you have less rules to abide by, it allows you to play extremely fast. And I kind of want that from my defense and any defense that I'm going to be a part of. Guys playing fast, guys kind of shrinking the field is what I want the offense to feel like. Like, man, they're all over the place. And I'm being able to play a system that's working the ball inside out gives you the opportunity to do that. So when we're looking at the 5-man box, I just want to make sure that first I say it's nothing that's new to football. A lot of guys freak out on me when I take one of those D linemen out, have those two backers playing in the bubble and just those three D linemen up front. But if you ever played, 4-2-5 system and you like to stay in your too high shell, when anytime a team win doubles on you, you have to remove a backer, or he has to at least go play a 50 so he can relate somewhat as an overhang for you. So initially, when you do that, all you're left with is that your two defensive tackles, your two defensive ends, and your Mike backer, which is additionally another 5-man box. So it's stuff that we've been doing for a long time in football. We just kind of presenting it differently, and in my opinion, a little bit better, just because you have guys that are able to overlap and able to correct fits if things happen bad on the first level. But like pretty much going and looking at the idea behind it is that both A gaps, again, both B gaps, and that cutback lane is going to be handled by those 5 interior guys. They're going to work off each other. They're going to be able to have some gap exchanges that's possible to happen. And then, like we talked about, that last fitter or that 9-tech, he has nothing to do with what this initial fit is. He's just going to be the additional fitter to it, and he's going to be that vice tackler. The main thing that I want to make sure that we're looking at as well is defining who plays this quote unquote 9-tech role. We're in a new age and day in the game where we have guys that are just super athletic from different standpoints, or even if they're smaller guys, they bring different things to the table. And I think looking at your players and your personnel and putting them in the best places to be successful is the main thing and the main key for things to be advantageous for your team. So that 9 technique role can be a guy that plays in the defensive end sort of stance, where he can be close to the line of scrimmage, where he can stand up a little bit as an edge rusher. It also could be a 50 backer. He could be playing an outside backer to where you looking like you almost playing a stack kind of look, but those independent fitters are still independent, and he's just going to be that help for the cutback. So he allows those other two backers to go ahead and fly and make plays. I've played him in a third safety spot as well, to where that you play about 8 to maybe 10 yards off. You're kind of in the middle of a defense. You relate to the number 3 guy, whether that's a receiver, a H-back, or a running back. And it's kind of, well, I'm going to go ahead and run fit this thing. If I was a cover 3 safety in the middle of the field, I'm going to sling myself to both C gaps as a final fitter to where I'm going to be a clean guy. The main thing is understanding this guy is a chess piece, and you can place him where you want to be the most advantageous for you that week. We kind of get into it where we game plan week to week where we want to play that player, just based off of the things that we're getting on the offense from the different sides of the field. Mostly because the set of rules we have put in doesn't affect anybody but that one individual player. So we're able to run all our different coverages, all our different schemes successfully and continuity without messing up anybody else, and just adjusting that one player and kind of putting him in a place that we want him to be. And I think that's kind of major when you're looking at it. And this is a good transition into this new slide right here when we're looking at, like, why do we move that guy? The number one thing is just we're trying to create advantages for us defensively. We're trying to confuse the offense, not necessarily the coordinator, but maybe the offensive line or the quarterback. I'm in the business of confusing 14 to 18-year-olds. I'm not trying to compete with guys that do what I do on a daily and just kind of look at ball and try to soak up new knowledge. So it's all about presenting them a different picture, but still being able to be successful in the things that we do. So you can put a guy in a wide 9, and he can be that guy, that bull for you, to be able to be that super edge setter, that party starter, if you will, against outside zone and stretch plays. You can maneuver that guy a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage as far as playing a jack, and now maybe he can be a spill guy for you, an additional pass rusher. Another reason we like to do it, we can able to have some late movement where we can bring guys from different places. We can replace guys in coverage just based off of where that guy is. So again, changing the picture for that quarterback or for that running back or for that offensive line, to where maybe there's something that they thought they knew we were in, and we're able to bring something from another place. I think being able to come with 4-man pressures is going to be essential in being able to play kind of some mid-mod stuff, mostly because that's where people try to get you. They know you only have 3 down linemen. We're trying to cage rush. We don't get a great pass rush. So they're going to try to see how they can split you out zone-wise, and then be able to see how they can stack you up in the pass game as far as developing some routes. So being able to have some sim pressures and being able to send guys is going to be great. And then my favorite part about why I move the guy the most, at least in my opinion, is being able to maintain my own conflict player. So controlling the RPO. This had to happen a lot when we were playing Grayson that one year when we were battling it out back to back, man. But they would go trips. They would have the running back to it. So it's four strong. So they got you having expand players, but they're going to be RPO in that nickel. So it was just us coming up with different ways to get a guy over there to where we could kind of staple his feet in the ground and then be able to still play the run with the rules that we had in the box. And that's kind of my number one reason why I kind of been in this system for the last few years is just the adjustability of it and the ability to have answers to questions that the offenses was always providing me. But the last thing is, man, the offense got to be able to locate him. We already know how it's going to fit. We know where he's coming from. That's the offense's job to figure it out. And if they do, we might move him. So I always like that little piece of being able to play chess with the offensive coordinator as the game progresses. Now, kind of just looking at some of the fits and how it works fit wise to the zone scheme. First things first, right here, everything that we do is from a how perspective. So I like to look at football in question stems. You got how, what, when, where. All right. So when and where is always. We're always trying to get better. We always trying to learn. If you walk by my classroom, I'm gonna try to get you a little nugget of what we got going on to the game plan that week. But what is gonna be the system that we play in, like what we actually do. But how is the thing that's the most important to me, and that's gonna be how we play inside the system, the actual techniques and things that get the actual job done. So when we're talking about zone or when we're talking about fitting anyway, period. When we talk to our nose guard, we always talk to him with the concept of lag. We tell him, hey, look, you want to fight pressure. So you want to go to the play side and you want to fight towards double teams. That's going to be your job. So your whole job is to fight pressure and you're going to look towards double teams. If it's a zone scheme play, you're allowed to fall back one gap because the other guy can overlap for you. So on this zone scheme here, he will be fighting to the play side, being able allowed to fall back this way. Same concept goes for our backers. They're going to be what we like to call A to C normally, but how we teach them is we have an attack guy and we have a pace guy. So if the running back is to your side, you're normally going to be what's called the pace guy. You're going to pace the running back as he goes this way so you can add initially back into the backwards fit if the quarterback were to keep the ball. But if the quarterback was not to keep the ball, obviously you add up to the front side of the fit, go ahead and make the tackle, and you will exchange gaps with the nose guard. Same thing. I'm the front side backer. I'm opposite of the back, so I'm going to be the fly guy. I'm allowed to fly over the fit and go ahead and make plays. All right, our 4-eye right here is going to get vertical in his B gap, try to be an additional wall. This jack right here will go ahead and box it, obviously, and be the final edge to the defense. And then obviously on the backside, we teach our 4-eye guys. If you're on the backside of zone, you're able to goddamn shoot that gap, rip, run, and chase it down from the backside. And that's kind of how those rules fit in to the zone scheme things. But you'll see that we do the same exact fits when it comes to our gap scheme runs as well, as far as the technique to what we tell our guys to do. So looking at this next play, we have obviously a little power play coming here, some gap scheme things. So on this front side, our 4-eye right here, this guy right here does what we call a corkscrew technique. Corkscrew, just for a simple explanation, is pretty much old school. When we used to have a 5 technique and we were getting reach, we were always taught to kind of use your big steering wheel, get outside of that guy, reset the edge, and place your inside arm with good pressure. So we took that same concept, and that's how I respond to a heavy down block. So if I'm getting heavy down block from this tackle, I'm playing this 4-eye, I'm going to use my big steering wheel and start to utilize his body so I can cancel that next gap to where that puller is going to hit. And I'm going to go ahead and wrong arm or corkscrew or pull spill that puller that came around. So I'm going to be the first initial spill. All right. The second spiller is obviously going to be the Mike, that play side backer. He's going to come down, spill that H back. The nose is a lag guy, meaning he plays both A gaps. We always told him earlier that you have to fight pressure. You have to fight to the play. So he's going to pick this double side. All right. The back is to this 4-eye side. So he's going to be our chase guy. He's allowed to chase, follow that guard. He's going to be our final edge and our QB player. So our wheel is going to get over untouched. He should be the inside tackler. I'm inside shoulder out. Our overhang should be the outside tackler, outside shoulder in. And that's going to help create that vice tackle, which we like to have always 2-on-1. And again, it's just always taught through the same rules that we gave him. This guy was still a pacer so that he can help on the fallback if the ball did come back. He still read his tackle. It canceled him down, so I went ahead and chased. I still was a lag guy. I still was the fly guy to the fit. So our techniques and how we do stuff are always the same regarding those five guys. And then we add tacklers from space based off the coverages and based off of how we want to fit with it. So now that we kind of talked about what it looks like, kind of why I think it works well in high school, why I've been using it, it's simple teaching. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying it is easy to teach and install, but it's very repetitive. So it's something that you really want to do. It's something that you constantly instill in the kids. It's something they're able to do at a very high level. And it's something I think that should be progression based. So you should start low and just continue to build the techniques and the ideas that you have as you move forward. My biggest thing is it protects linebackers and makes linebacker play extremely easy. I think a lot of people don't realize when you play true four down defense, your two backers on the bubble really have to be able to read the triangle. They get involved following H backs and all those good things. I try to make it a lot simpler for them and protect them as far as them guys always trying to fight the double teams up front for them. So one, they can stay clean, and two, they can kind of just fly and play football. I don't want to get into a world where we start playing teams that's running split zone and I got linebackers going opposite ways. Like, no, y'all just fit based off y'all rules, and we have something for that third guy or that split guy that's going the opposite way. Flexible personnel, no matter whether you're big, small, and different in between, we have guys that you are able to put on the field and be successful in the system. You just have to make sure that you're giving them the proper techniques for them to be successful. And then obviously, the number one thing I think is very great too is being able to disguise pressures. When you can bring pressures from different places and you can kind of make it simple to where you kind of just tagging a guy based off of his position name, and everybody kind of fixes the coverage and rotates it around him, and being able to close and open the field out of the same looks, I think is a very good thing to be able to do, especially playing some of these younger quarterbacks. So I think looking complicated and being able to keep it simple is something that this defense or this mindset kind of brings to the table. So if I had any final takeaways that I would be trying to give anybody that might be considering doing something similar to this, I would always say spacing first. Start understanding what type of coverages you want to be in. Do you want to be a 9-man spacing team, an 8-man spacing team? I kind of function in a 7-man world most of the time. So I kind of not necessarily have two guys that two gap, but I kind of have a system that allows the whole box to work together in unison and allows them to pick up an extra gap and then be able to bring guys from space and still be able to have like kind of a net out there to help in the pass game, especially like the quick game and the bubbles, the extension of the run game. Your final fitter is flexible when you run this system, so put your best player there. I've done it to where the best player is ever, playing that backer spot, or where he's playing that safety spot, or playing that 9 spot. Make it advantageous for your team. Put him in a spot to where he can be successful. Personnel over scheme. Again, how better than what? The guys you got, make sure you're putting them in position to do the things they do well all the time, and then you can be able to switch that up based on how you put the technique into the system. So it kind of can fit whatever guys you got. And then again, it's just kind of a philosophy. It's not necessarily a true defense or not necessarily the true mint front. It's just kind of something that I was able to get some ideas from and then be able to put some systems together that's helped us be kind of successful, whether I've been at any of the stops that I've been at. And then that's pretty much it. I try to make sure I stay within close to time range, and that's kind of my contact info right there if anybody want to get with me or want to learn anything else about it.
Coach, that was really good. Appreciate you. Hold on, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, that was really good. I see that that front's really really versatile. What is something that would be a key for somebody that's watching that thinking, man, I got to teach a bunch of different techniques to these guys? Like, how are you able to make it simple where it's not more techniques every time you move the guy?
For sure. So for me, I was really blessed to be in a room of really smart guys when I initially did it. And I was responsible, I think, for, I wouldn't say maybe the most difficult piece, which is the D line aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so being able to feel it. So I think the biggest part that I did this past year, explaining it to my new staff and having them get it out was just, really leaning on them and really explaining it into concepts more than actual plays, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No,
So,
that's
for
actually
example,
that's the answer. Yeah. They have to
yeah,
actually kids have to understand it,
exactly, yeah.
memorizing. Yeah.
So for me, like if I got to play corner for me, we're gonna teach him on these coverages. You hear this, you're gonna play mod, your man outside and deep, and so he doesn't really care if we're cover 3 match or cover 4 match, or he just know he's playing his man outside and deep. He know he's playing his
Right.
deep guy from there. So we were able to kind of make it shorter as far as like, okay, I need you to do this when you hear this call, and that's all I need you to do. So do they necessarily know everything that's going on inside the system with each other? No, but they know that the ideals of the whole defense is to get the ball towards the outside. I'm going to be an outside tackler. We're trying to get
Mhm.
vice tackles to happen. So they know system wide what they're trying to do, but they might not necessarily know, okay, oh, this coming together, we're playing cover 4 behind it, and that's why we have to fit this way, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah, exactly, Coach. I think that's great. Well, I appreciate you taking some time, man. People speak highly of you. Yeah, you're a good coach, my man. Excited we could recognize you a couple times. If I can ever help you out, let me know. Thank you again for doing this.
I definitely will, man. I appreciate it. If you ever got anything else going, shoot me a shout, man. It's been an
Yes,
honor to be
sir.
on the list a few times. I was telling the wife I was reading your book earlier, so now it's awesome to have a conversation.
Yeah, man. Hey, reach out anytime. I appreciate it. We'll have a bunch more of these. So there'll be some other guys that you can watch, and we'll have you back sometime.
Yes, sir. That's perfect, man. I appreciate you. You have a good night, my man.
Go.